There's a huge draw for people when you can convince yourself that you are in some sort of danger, when you can convince yourself that the stakes are much higher than they actually are. A lot of people are willing to pay for that. That's why things like skydiving and hunting and clowns are all marked by special events. It's because they are intrinsically slightly dangerous, and oftentimes can be very terrifying. Now, boxing that tension has been something that filmmakers, as well as game makers alike, have been doing and attempting to do well for decades. Plaid Hat Games is one of the companies that's thrown their hat in the ring in an attempt to box up our intrinsic need to be afraid.
And they've done this with their game, Dead of Winter. Now here's the thing. Zombie merchandise, games and movies in particular, have become almost a parody of a horror that they attempt to depict. Unwittingly, when I see zombie merchandise with no reference, I tend to think of it as mindless drivel. It's something that appeals to the masses and allows for lazy and uncreative product to be shoved out into a market that willingly takes it and consumes it without thinking. Which is why I completely ignored Dead of Winter for a solid year. I saw it in my local game store, I'd seen people talk about it online, no interest whatsoever. Now, not that I completely hate the zombies genre, I love The Walking Dead, and Zombieland's one of my favorite movies. That being said, for every Dawn of the Dead, there's a million zombievers. And then I watched a gameplay video. Then I started to watch some more reviews. It quickly became apparent that I was missing out on something that I really would enjoy, and so I frantically searched for it. And unlike the genre itself, when I'm actually searching for a zombie, I was completely unable to find it. I managed to track one down at a Barnes & Noble in the next town over, and so I picked it up, gave it a try, and it quickly became one of my favorite games. Currently my favorite game. Now, one of the reasons I love Dead of Winter so much is it's because there's a sense of grim reality to it. This is more how I would imagine a zombie type situation would go down. It's not all hack and slash with gleeful abandon. No, you need to take out the trash, because if you don't, your morale's going to go down. You'll eventually fall into a downward spiral that's going to end up in depression, and after which case you'll give up and you'll die, and everyone you love will die. So it's not all fun. I mean, zombie apocalypse, yeah, they're great. The weirdos will tell you it'll be the best thing that ever happens to you. Not so. Because you aren't going out hunting zombies. You are trying to find enough food to feed your survivors. The zombies are a thought in the back of your head, because first and foremost, you need to starve. You need to eat before being worried about being eaten. If you don't eat and you can't feed your people, you starve, and that hurts you in the game. And that hurts you to the point where if you ever get to a starvation point again, not only do you take that second starvation effect, you remember the last time you went hungry, and you and your survivors take another morale hit. And that's just it. I mean, you could be in the grocery store and you stumble across another survivor, which is great because you need all the help you can get. You need tools, you need people searching through the different locations because you're moving from the home base to the school, or from the school to the police station. In each time that you do this, you roll an exposure dice, which could mean that you get bit, or it could mean that there's an outbreak. So you need people to survive this game. The problem is, the more people you have, the more you have to feed. The more people you feed, the more the trash piles up. The more the trash piles up, the faster your morale will go down to zero, and you will lose. Now, one of the things I love about this game is it's a semi-cooperative game. So there's an objective that you and your team are that you and all the other players are attempting to complete. If you complete this, you may win the game, and here's where it gets kind of funny. Each person has what I think is probably the best part about this game is the secret objective. Everybody has their own secret objective. If they do not complete both the secret objective if they do not complete the secret objective and the team group objective, they will lose the game. Unless they're the traitor, because there is a slim possibility that someone that's playing the game has the goal to make everyone else lose. Now, you would think that this would be easy to spot the person that's trying to sabotage the entire thing. The problem is these secret objectives that every player has makes them look incredibly selfish. So while you may be looking across at Billy Bob over here, let's not go with Billy Bob. If you're looking across the table at Larry here, and Larry is obviously holding a whole handful of cards, you can think, he is trying to sink us because we need medicine this round, because every round there's a crisis that you have to deal with. We need medicine, and he really hasn't contributed any, and he's been at the hospital the whole time. Guess what? Maybe Larry over there is not actually trying to sabotage you. He wants to help the group objective. He's also a drug addict, which isn't something he knew about himself until he drew the secret objective. The point is, the game balances the hidden traitor mechanic so well because it makes every other person seem selfish in a much more natural way. A way that is more truthful to humanity than most games like to be. And that's one of the things that I love about this game too, is that it's so character driven. You've got a whole plethora of characters over here that each have their own unique abilities. They've got their their attack rate, their search rate. They've got a solid base for characters here. On top of that, there's the crossroad deck, which is sort of the engine for the game. Every turn, the person to the left of the active player flips one of these. If a condition is met during that turn, this crossroad triggers, and a portion of a story is read and a decision has to be made. It ramps up the decisions that have to be made because there are a lot of decisions. You only have a finite number of dice each round. Do you spend those clearing out the trash? Do you spend it looking for food? Do you spend it going to different locations? Do you spend it to heal someone, depending on your power? There's a ton of decisions, and this just adds to it, and not in a clunky way, in a way that the mechanics make sense in the scope of the game. Absolute blast. Absolutely love this game. There's so much to it, and it all kind of makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of things going on. Everything melds together really well, and it just makes sense. It's going to be a game that may be difficult to get to the table for a number of reasons. One is the zombie theme. Really, you could slap almost any other theme onto this game that's sort of in the horror realm, and it would work just as well. The zombie theme works fantastic for this game, but it's going to be one that people overlook solely for that reason. The components are really nice. They went with cardboard stand-ups instead of miniatures to keep down on prices. The cards look nice. The dice are small, but they make sense. There's a ton of tokens, ton of zombie stand-ups, which is really cool, but it's kind of a pain to set up and tear down. Now, you can watch one of my other videos. I made an insert for this game, which really speeds up the setup process. But when you're spending 20 minutes setting up a game that people are not already on board to play, it kind of raises some red flags for them. The other thing is that there's, like I said, which is a pro for me, there's a ton of choices in this game. Guess what? That's fantastic. Not necessarily for everyone. You could be sitting there with a player that has taken a solid 4 or 5 minutes staring at the board. The thing is, it's not chess. This is Dead of Winter. It's a different feel. And so if someone's playing it like a chess game where they strategize and try to get everything figured out, you can't bank on what the trader or what your other players are going to do. So you don't want to waste time and ruin everyone's play by trying to analyze everything. Which, it's good. You need to analyze and figure out what's going on. It's a long game to set up. It's kind of a longer game. You don't want to risk losing people's attention by taking too much time on your turn. Absolutely recommend this game. Like I said, currently my favorite game, and so I look forward to playing the expansion. I don't think I will buy it right off the bat. I think I will definitely try it before I buy it, unless it gets rave reviews, and then I lose my head and I have extra Amazon credit and I buy it. Which, is essentially more or less what happened with this game. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, subscribe. We're currently running a contest. As soon as we hit 50 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away an Ultra Coin. You can watch that video where I show the overview of what the Ultra Coins are when they were going on Kickstarters. Lately, it's been successfully funded, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. Otherwise, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks.